Hey, Onyx fans, thanks for joining us this evening. We've got Method Race Wheels here. We'll give everybody a minute or two here to sign in, but thanks again for joining us again, and thanks for being an Onyx off-road customer. All right, we are seeing lots of folks signing in. Again, thank you for joining. We will give it just another few seconds here, and then we're going to jump right in to answering all your questions about Method Race Wheels. All right, folks, we are about 2 minutes after the hour. Thank you so much again for joining this evening. Tonight, our special guest is Matt from Method Race Wheels. Matt, thank you for carving out some time and setting aside some answers to all the great questions that our Onyx off-road customers have had. With that, I think we'll do, for anybody that's attended some of the previous ones, this will be a slightly different format. So we got a ton of questions from you all about Method in advance, and Matt's done a really good job of putting together a pitch and a deck, talking through like a lot of the answers to those questions. That being said, you probably have a lot of questions that you're going to have about your specific situation, or just questions about what Matt talks about. So please go into the Q&A in the Zoom meeting and start to ask those questions. We will be answering them live. So again, thanks for joining this evening. Matt, with that, I am turning it over to you to talk everything Method Race Wheels.
Appreciate it, Nate. We wanted to start out today by really giving an idea of who we are as a company and why we build the products that we build. So here at Method Race Wheels, we're enthusiasts and race participants ourselves, and we build what we like, and we build what we know, and we build what we trust. We have a commitment to quality and service surrounding our products. We're very engineering forward focused when it comes to product development. And, we develop our products in the dirt so that we can bring that product to the road. When it comes to, how we build our products and how we go to market, we've created our methodology. And so you'll get a little bit of an inside look at what we do when it comes to product development. And there's 5 points here: race proven, exclusive features, weight savings, material process, and then designed in USA. And we'll talk through all of these components to how we go to market and how we build product. And these are really kind of the pillars and the things that we're thinking about in the background as we're coming out with a new product, whether that's a bead grip wheel, a bead lock wheel, or a standard series wheel. So we know that we're race proven, but that's also for everyday use. We build products to suit racers, and then we take that feedback that we get off-road and in motorsport, and we apply it to our other products for on-road use. And so as we're building products for on-road use, we're looking back to a lot of the R&D and things that have been completed in different disciplines of motorsport, and trying to understand what features we have tested that we can bring to on-road markets as well. When it comes to some of the features that you can find on our products, and you'll see a lot more of this as we go on in the presentation, but specifically in bead locks, some of the things that we're doing is smoothing out the radius on the back end of the wheel where the tire sits, just to avoid cuts and abrasions. We have redundant holes built into all of our bead lock products. So if you're off-road and you're changing a ring for some reason and you happen to cross thread a bolt, you can just reclock that ring one over. So we try to make things as user-friendly as possible. There's also pockets and different machining on the backside to help prevent tire slippage under extreme torque scenarios on the beadlock products. As we get into the different, I apologize, I think I may have skipped a slide. As we get into our designed and developed in the USA comment, and things that we do on the engineering side, there's a lot of things that are unique to Method. Some of those things are, our engineering is 100% in-house. All of our R&D, all of our design, we don't third party any of that component out. Some of the other things that are unique for us compared to our competition is we have supply quality engineers on the ground at all of our manufacturing facilities. So they're to make sure that all of our products meet our stringent requirements and make sure that when you open a Method Race Wheels box, it's the best product that you could possibly get. Some of the other things that we do are, hey, we don't rely solely on FEA analysis. And FEA analysis is finite element analysis. And that's computer simulations to determine, weak points on a wheel. And so we don't rely on that 100%. We do independent third-party validation. We're one of the only businesses that we know that we don't just trust the product from what we design on the computer. We're actually sending it out to third-party labs to validate all the information and all the testing requirements that we have. In addition to that, we do metallurgy testing. So as we come out with a new product, we're cutting out cross sections, and we're sending that off for material analysis to make sure that it meets all of our standards. And then in addition to that, all of the on-road wheels in the U.S. are governed by what you call SAE J2530. And that's Society of Automotive Engineers and their testing requirements for, to be able to produce and sell a product in the U.S. When it comes to that testing, we don't rely on some of the smaller sizes. We actually test all of our products on 37-inch tires. As you increase the tire diameter, you're also increasing the strain and the stress that's on a wheel component. So by testing it at some of the higher sizes, we know that product is going to be safe for everybody. When it comes to weight savings, our tagline is lighter, stronger, faster. And so we have to hit on all those components when we come out with a product. So anywhere that's possible for us to save a couple of pounds, we do so. Whether that's machining backsides of spokes, we incorporate a lot of that into beadlock ring design, and you can see on the screen here, some of the design and features on beadlock rings or some of our standard wheels. It's not just there as an aesthetically pleasing look. There's engineering behind that, and we're always looking for ways to remove material and remove unsprung weight from vehicles. So that's another thing that we do that's a little bit different. So when it comes to material process, we're building cast wheels, we're building forged wheels. All of our product is created with an A356 alloy. Everything is T6 heat treated. There are some exceptions that actually go above and beyond that with a proprietary heat treatment process. But you know that when you're getting a Method Race wheel, it's the strongest that you can possibly produce. Before we get into kind of customer segment, just want to remind folks, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We can try to answer as much of that stuff live as possible. When it comes to our customer segments, there's really three that we focus on. There's certainly more than this, but we have our adventurous category, our thrill seeker category, and off-road life. The adventure category, you want to think of that as, the vehicle is used to get to the destination, right? That can be hunting, fishing, kayaking, mountain biking, but where the vehicle is not the primary, active form of entertainment. It is used as a tool to get to that form of entertainment. Whereas the thrill seeker category in the off-road life, that's where actually the vehicle becomes involved in that process. So thrill seeker is certainly the side-by-side market. It's the motocross market. When you move into off-road life, this is everything from, all of the off-road race series from Score and Best in the Desert, Dakar Rally, Fink down in Australia, which just wrapped up a couple of days ago. These are the hardcore off-road enthusiasts. We've got a couple of slides coming up here on the vehicles themselves and kind of how we visualize these particular vehicles in these segments. So in the adventure category, you'll see Sprinter van conversions. You'll see the Broncos and 4Runners and Tacomas and Subarus. In the thrill seeker category, you'll see more desert inspired vehicles where the vehicle is actually used as the form of entertainment. Same with the off-road life category, but off-road life is traditionally rooted in motorsports or very aggressive off-roading, wheeling, things of that nature. No surprise, race is our middle name. This is one of my favorite slides to review with folks. We're really proud of all the athletes and teams that we work with. We're humbled that they choose Method Race Wheels as the product to get them on top of the box. We've highlighted a couple of race wins on here. There's certainly far more than what we can fit on one page, but this is really to show that when it comes to wheel manufacturing and being the best, we're not just out there talking about it, right? We're out there winning, and the best teams in the world choose to run our products, and we're proud of them, and we're proud of the support they provide us. When it comes to research and development, we listen to their feedback and we produce better products for them. And that feedback and those different product iterations that come to market make their way into street product in our standard series that you're going to find on your traditional Tacoma or 4Runner or Bronco. But we really appreciate everything that our race teams do to help support us and our brand, and we value their feedback. So we like to highlight them. So when it comes to our product, right, and wheel shopping in general, it's difficult enough for myself, take it, to decide, hey, what am I going to put on my next vehicle? And if it's difficult for me and it's difficult for other folks that are currently in the industry, we like to think about how difficult is it for a consumer. And a lot of times wheel decisions and purchase decisions involving wheel and tire are aesthetic related, right? You're looking for a design that you like. And so we've tried to simplify that at some level by providing different series of products to choose from, right? And so now we can go in there and we can say, hey, what am I going to be doing with the vehicle? Am I primarily using this vehicle on the street? Am I taking this vehicle off-road and running some trails every now and then? Am I towing a fifth wheel or a boat, or is it going on a chase truck? What kind of environment will this vehicle see? And so we've kind of housed our products into different categories based on that need. So somebody can come in and say, hey, this is the type of driving that I'm doing. Here's the options that best suit my needs. In this product family, we've got Method Standard, traditional use for trucks, SUVs, CUVs, Sprinter vans, ProMasters, things of that nature. We've got a heavy duty lineup. The interesting thing on the heavy duty lineup, it is the strongest cast wheel on the market. Those are rated for 4,500 pounds per corner. And it is the strongest cast wheel that you will find in the marketplace. We actually developed the heavy duty lineup for our race teams, right? So that goes back to how we use their feedback. And so race teams were looking for a stronger product for their chase trucks. They've got beds on the back of these and fuel and spares, and we're significantly overloading the rear axle of those vehicles. Our teams came to us and said, hey, we need something a little bit more stout. And that's really how the heavy duty lineup was born. From there, there's other intended uses, right? You've got a fifth wheel, you've got a toy hauler, you're towing a boat. You want that peace of mind that you're not going to be overloading that rear axle based on any additional weight that you're putting over it. In the bead grip category, this is primarily classified as street, moderate off-road, and you can get into some extreme off-road with a bead grip. We'll get into a little bit more detail on the bead grip technology that is proprietary to Method Race Wheels, but that's a great solution for a lot of folks out there.
Hey, Matt, we had one come in that would tie in, I think, a question that would tie in pretty good to that tow rig part that you were just discussing.
Sure.
Let me throw out. So Davis, really good question. Would bead grip be more reliable on a tow rig in the event of a puncture at slow speed to allow for getting the rig off the road safely?
That answer would be yes. And we'll get into a little bit more detail. Bead grip is really there for the peace of mind. Bead lock kind of bridges the gap between a traditional wheel and a bead lock wheel. And so having a bead grip wheel on any vehicle, allows you to intentionally lower your air pressure for smoother ride comfort off-road or better handling, by splaying out that tread footprint. But the feature itself, right, keeps that tire bead on the wheel. So the answer to the question is yes, it does help keep that tire on the wheel, whether that's to make it back to camp if you're off-road, whether that is a tire puncture on the road and having enough time to pull over safely. Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you.
You got it. Our bead lock product, definitely extreme off-road and off-road use only. In most cases, folks are a little leery about running bead locks on the road. There is additional maintenance that's required with a bead lock wheel that not everybody is familiar with. So those are definitely classified as extreme off-road and off-road only. In our UTV category, we both have bead grip and bead lock. This is an example of one of our bead grip wheels, and we have a bead lock wheel. Both the same wheel, but it comes in both options on the UTV side. We can get into some of these product families in a little bit more detail and provide a little bit more information on each of them. So method standard. To indicate a method standard, you're looking for a part number that starts with MR3. And so we'll look at some of the details there on those products. Again, mainly everyday use, trucks, vans, SUVs, CUVs. All of our product is that A356 alloy. They all are T6 heat treatment. The T6, what it does, it actually hardens that product to the strongest that it will ever be right out of our factory. So as soon as you open that Method Race Wheels box, that is the strongest that product will ever be. In the standard category, as well as some of the bead grip categories and HD applications, we have hub-centric fitments that are available. We run up to 3,640 pounds, and we do have a lifetime structural warranty, also a 2-year finish warranty. So we're about double the industry average on the finish warranty and lifetime on the structural. So we'll get into the heavy-duty component here. An example of what you'd see potentially on one of our chase vehicles with the heavy-duty wheel on here. Again, A356 with the T6, 4,500 pounds is the load rating on that product. That's per wheel, per corner. Some folks will actually have a hard time finding a tire that can match or exceed that for the vehicle. So we certainly wanted to be as strong as possible and exceeded it in this scenario. Bead grip. I'm sure there might be a couple of questions about bead grip, so we'll start to look at some of that information. When we talked earlier about the R&D that comes along with our motorsports programs and our race teams, we do on a lot of our race product have a reinforced lip. And so this is one example of how we've taken some of the technology that is race proven out in the desert and applied it to on-road product. So little thicker lip on the inside of the wheel that helps reduce any potential for bends or breaks. That is the weakest part of the wheel, which is the backside. There's no spokes there to hold it up. So by making a couple geometry changes on the inner lip of the wheel, it actually produces a stronger product. Again, hub-centric fitments available, structural warranty, which is lifetime, and we run those up to 3,640 pounds as well. So talk a little bit about bead grip. I'm sure that some folks on here are familiar with bead grip. Many may not be. As I said before, bead grip kind of bridges the gap between a traditional wheel and a bead lock wheel. And we developed this product for a peace of mind, truthfully. We've got customers that say, hey, I really like the feature of a bead lock and being able to air down and knowing that tire bead is not going to come off. But I don't want to deal with the added cost. I don't want to deal with the added maintenance. I don't want to deal with the added weight. And so our engineers went to the drawing board and this is what we came up with. So with the bead grip, you do have less weight compared to a bead lock product. You don't have a forged bead lock ring and the hardware that's associated with it. So there's less strain on drivetrain and suspension components, less unsprung weight, which can increase fuel range, battery mileage, and not as many parts. It's one complete unit, and there's no maintenance required. Main feature of the bead grip are the grooves, and so you see here a cross section of the wheel. When that tire is aired up and under load of the vehicle, that's when the feature really kicks in, right? And so that tire bead is sitting on top of those machined grooves and reduces slippage, horizontally across that cross section. And by doing that, it holds that tire bead in place, almost as close as what you would see with a bead lock wheel. In addition to those grooves that kind of create that friction to hold that tire in place from slipping over the bead hump, we actually have an oversized bead hump there. So it's a little bit less of a radius, it's more of an angle, and that helps hold in that inside edge of that tire from slipping over that safety hump. Great thing about bead grip is it exists on both sides of the wheel. Traditional bead locks, you're only going to have the bead lock on one half, right? The outside half of the wheel. With the bead grip, you've got it in both bead channels or bead seat areas. It really holds that tire bead on as well as it should. Another cross section here, but kind of shows you what that tire contact patch looks like once you air down and you're off road. Something that I'm sure a lot of onX subscribers are familiar with. But this is just a visual example of, hey, you've got that tire aired up and under load of the vehicle. You've dropped your PSI down to increase that contact patch, give yourself a little better ride off road. And this also works, with the side loads that you may experience when you're off road. You come up on the side of a rock and you're aired down, you're going to get a lot of movement there. So having it on the inside half and on the outside half is critical.
So
yes.
We've gotten a ton of questions flowing in about bead grip as you were talking. So if we can, I'd love to hit you with a few of them because I think it'll help a lot of the folks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the questions that came in from Julie, and I saw a few other folks talking about it in the chat, was how low PSI can the bead grip wheels go? Like, where would you steer folks one way or another? Love to get a little more detail on that.
Yeah, so it's a great question. We get it all the time ourselves. I'm not surprised that it came up today. We've tested at 10 PSI. Okay. We have customers that have tested significantly lower. There's plenty of videos out there where folks are running it down into very low single digits or no digits. I can't truthfully recommend going that low because there is a point where you have little to no air pressure and you have enough side load or weight of the vehicle. You could pop something off, but one of the things that we talk about internally is there have been little to no feedback from customers saying, hey, I've actually been able to debead the tire. So I'd say we're comfortable recommending 10 PSI, although there are folks out there that have tested much lower with great success.
Cool. One of the other ones, going back to the slides that you had on the channel of where the tire is actually sitting in, Doug had a question about, is that channel width or essentially the presence of that tire in the wheel make specific to those tire manufacturers? So like, is a Falken different than a Nitto, or does that impact how the bead grip performs at all?
It does not affect the performance of the bead grip. The channel on the inside and the outside is no different when it comes to the width of the product. Cool. Tire beads manufacturer by manufacturer are different, right? But the actual grooves that are built in are accommodate the varying degrees of bead thickness by different tire companies.
Perfect. Well, cool. We'll let you keep rolling, but team, like, these are the questions that we want. This is why we've got an expert like Matt from Method that is selling some of the best wheels in the marketplace. So again, keep those questions flowing. And again, as being part of the onX Elite, you guys get preferred pricing on these Method wheels too. So it's no better time to outfit your rig with the best wheels in the marketplace. Matt, sorry, that's my shameless plug. I'll throw it back.
All good. I love the questions. Keep them coming. It's for you guys, right? So if you have a question, drop in the chat. We're happy to answer it for you. As we look at some of our beadlock products, this is a beadlock wheel here. All of our beadlock products, again, A356 alloy. They do have a proprietary heat treatment process. I can't give much detail on there because it is proprietary. Just know that they're the strongest things that are out there. Something unique to Method that is all of our beadlock rings are actually forged, right? So we're not using any cast beadlock rings on our beadlock products. There are some hub-centric fitments available on some of our beadlock products. Again, lifetime structural warranty, and the beadlock products actually go up to 4,000 pounds in load rating. A couple different cutaways and some detail here on the beadlocks. You've got, again, T6 heat treatment and redundant threaded holes on the wheel itself. Beadlock ring, as we mentioned, was a forged product and clamps that tire in place to the wheel. And you can kind of see those little circles, those little holes that are machined in. That sits on the wheel itself where the tire channel exists. And that's what the beadlock ring actually presses that tire into. And that helps prevent that tire from actually rotating under extreme torque scenarios. Again, just another look at the tire bead being clamped in. Another look similar to the bead grip product. Beadlock, again, is on one half of the wheel. Shows the tire being aired down and under load. One thing I do want to call out, one of our products, the MR108 beadlock, actually has beadlock on the outside half and bead grip on the inside half. So for the customer that really wants that extra peace of mind, it's a great option for you because not only do you have a bead lock on one half holding that outside bead in, but you also have bead grip picking up the slack on the inside. Again, maximum traction when you can hold that bead into place and air down. Also increases ride comfort considerably once you air down off-road. We'll get in here to a little bit of offsets if there aren't any questions that we want to address at the moment.
The only one, Matt, that I think we could probably hit is the max load per wheel. Devin had this question: if the standard was 3,600, is it a total load of 72?
On the axle. Yeah, absolutely. And I probably should call out the 3,640 pounds are primarily found on all of our 8-lug applications. It'll be difficult to find a 5 or 6 lug application that's rated up to 3,600. It's certainly something that we can produce, but it may be a little bit overkill for most of the market out there.
Cool. Yeah, I think we can keep rolling, and there are a ton of questions in here that we'll get to, team. So I thank you for asking them specific to your rigs, but we've got some really good stuff on offsets, which I know a lot of the questions have in there.
Yeah, offsets are they're confusing, right? Because you've got wheel width, you've got wheel diameter, you've got offset, you've got back spacing, you've got bolt pattern, you've got hub bore diameter. Selecting the right wheels for your vehicle can be cumbersome, right? Especially when it comes to width and offset. That's probably the #1 question that we get when people call us on the phone or shoot us a note on email or social media. So we've got this slide here to kind of illustrate. We've also got a wheel here that's got some markings on it to explain. And I don't know how well you can see this, but kind of give you offsets 101. So we'll start with backspace. A lot of folks are familiar with backspace. Backspace is measured from the mounting pad of the wheel to the rear lip of the wheel. So if you took a plumb line right here and took a ruler and took it out to the edge, and if it said 6 inches, that's your backspace, right? It's a 6-inch backspace. So that backspace is measured from the mounting pad all the way to the rear lip of the wheel. Whereas offset is measured how far that mounting pad exists from the dead center of the wheel. So on this wheel here, we've got a red stripe, we've got a yellow stripe, and we've got a white stripe. The red stripe would indicate a zero offset, right? This would mean that the mounting pad is dead center on this wheel. As you move to a positive offset, that mounting pad on the inside of the wheel is actually shifted closer to the face of the wheel. And by doing that, you actually pick up more slack, more backspace before it actually bolts to your vehicle. And when you have a positive offset, typically that means that that wheel is coming further in than it would with a zero offset. On the other hand, a negative offset, the mounting pad is closer to the rear lip of the wheel. And by doing that, you make contact with the vehicle sooner as you slide that wheel onto the vehicle. And so what that means is you've got more material, more wheel, more tire on the outside half. So if you're looking at a truck that might be lifted and the wheel and tire is outside of the fender well, chances are that's going to be a negative offset. If you've got a vehicle where that wheel and tire tucked in underneath the fender well, chances are that's going to be more of a positive offset. One of the biggest questions that we have when it surrounds offset, somebody will say, hey, I want this wheel. Is it going to be further out or further in than where I'm currently at? And it's a difficult question to answer unless we know where they're starting from, right? So if somebody already has an aftermarket wheel with a zero offset or a negative offset, we need that information to then be able to determine, hey, this wheel that you're looking for, is it going to move in or is it going to move out from where you exist today? So that's kind of offset 101. If anybody has any additional questions, again, put them in the chat. Our sales team loves helping people select the right product for their vehicle too. So I welcome anybody to call us or shoot us a note, and we'll be happy to help guide you through that process. When it comes to UTV offsets, it's a little bit different, right? You'll see two numbers generally separated by the plus symbol. So some of the most common UTV offsets are 5+2 and 4+3. The first number in that sequence is the backspace, right? And if you add those two numbers together, you get the width of the wheel. So it's a little bit easier to understand when it comes to ATV, UTV offsets. If you have a 5+2 offset, it's a 7-inch wide wheel, and you've got 5 inches of backspace, right? So far easier to understand, and the graphic on the screen here can help display that a little bit. We don't just love wheels, we love to personalize them. So we've got a lot of different accessories for our products. We've got a lot of different optional center caps that we build. Some of these are now coming standard on our products. We've got our Baja proven center cap here. We've got our Method Topo center cap. And then we also have, this is a Toyota favorite. We've got what we call our yellow, orange, red heritage cap here. When selecting center caps, the best recommendation or feedback I can give, if you have Method race wheels and you're looking to personalize them, pay attention to how that center cap affixes to your wheel. Do you have a snap-in style? Do you have a push-through style? And a lot of these will be built in both. So take a look at your wheel or send some information to us so we can help you select that product. Also on our website, we have an accessory finder. So if you go in and you say, hey, I've got a 2022 4Runner and I've got this wheel, it'll tell you the optional accessories that you're able to get for your product. Some of those accessories are going to be our Method race wheels valve caps. We're doing those in a red, a blue, a titanium. We've got that yellow, orange, and red stripe. We're doing lip bolt kits. We've got blue, red, black, a stainless steel, gold zinc. A wheel purchase is unique to everybody, right? And we wanted our accessories to further complement, the uniqueness of folks' vehicles. So you can mix and match and change things and make it your own. Also, a full line of beadlock rings and hardware. There's replacement components that we have available. Again, you can go through our website, through our accessory finder, and find the exact match for you. by entering your year, make, and model and the type of wheel that you have. You can also do that at the time that you're purchasing the product. Say, hey, I want to get this wheel, but I want to get that cap, and give me those bolts, and throw in a t-shirt. So we've got all those options available for you. Lug nuts. Most of our lug nuts are black and finished to complement the wheel, so those are also available. We do use spline drive on everything that we offer. Apparel and gear. I'm sporting the Method shirt. Our team over here does a fantastic job in the design process when it comes to our apparel. It's really high quality stuff. It's overtaking my closet, but truthfully, it's really high quality stuff, and the designs are on point. They do a great job of bringing out something fresh every couple of months. So I implore everybody to go check that stuff out. A couple of examples here of some of our recent releases, but we love our accessories and we love our apparel. In addition to the apparel, we got a lot of gear options. So there's Method wallets. We have a proprietary wheel cleaner that has a custom emulsifier in there to really pull out brake dust and grime and debris. You spray it on, wipe it down, wash it off. It doesn't affect your wheel finish. It doesn't void your finish warranty. It's actually a really, really good product. Air deflators, sunglasses, whip flags, we've got it all. That's my spiel.
No, that was awesome. And I know that I took a ton away from just seeing and talking through. You hear a lot of things and just passing through with your buddies, but there's nothing like having an expert explain it. I will say this. We've got a ton of questions that are piled up in here, Matt. So do you want to kind of roll through some of those? And for anybody else that hasn't asked yet, please click in and fire them away.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, cool. So let's start with beadlock and DOT approval. Do we want to talk a little bit about that piece of it?
We can, absolutely.
Perfect.
So it's a common misconception that there is a Department of Transportation approval process that a wheel company must go through to be classed as for on-road use. So DOT approval is not really a thing. Everything is governed by SAE J2530. Again, that's the Society of Automotive Engineers, and J2530 relates to impact testing, quartering fatigue, and radial fatigue. And that's the testing where we put it on a 37-inch tire and run through hundreds of thousands of cycles to make sure that this product is safe for on-road use. But it's not like we take a wheel and deliver it to the Department of Transportation for them to sit there and check boxes.
Totally.
When it comes to beadlocks and DOT use, a lot of it has to do with the J contour profile of the lip, and it doesn't exist on a beadlock product. Therefore, it doesn't fall under those standards. Okay. A beadlock wheel is probably not something that you want to run on the road. Again, there's a lot of maintenance that's required of that product. You should be retorquing those bolts, every couple hundred miles. Sure. So there's a maintenance component. So I would certainly avoid running a beadlock product on a daily driver, to and from work. We have plenty of options under our standard series that look just like the beadlock. So you don't have to have that product. I would reserve that for, your more extreme off-road use and something that isn't a daily driver.
Awesome. No, and I think that's helpful. I know there's always a lot of buzz in and around it. You brought up some really good points in there that I think ladder into some folks' questions. Brian had one. Should I be using a Loctite product on my beadlock bolt ring?
No, absolutely not. You don't want to lock that down. You're going to need to, pull that ring off every now and then to clean the tire bead, clean the area where it contacts the wheel. You're going to need to get in there and retorque bolts. So definitely don't use a Loctite. You can use a a different product. It slips my mind now. You can use, why can't I think of it?
Oh, no worries. I think we can always follow up.
Anti-seize, sorry.
Oh, no worries. Perfect.
Little bit of anti-seize, just a touch, right? And the torque settings do change whether you're using anti-seize or you're not using anti-seize. All that information can be found at the bottom of our website. So the foot-pounds that you're actually torquing those beadlock bolts to will change if you're using anti-seize versus no anti-seize. So if you decide to use anti-seize, please do visit, and even if you're not, understand what the torque is for your bolts. But pay attention to that chart, that graph. It'll tell you based on your wheel diameter, and if it's a cast or a forged product. And then it'll tell you in the columns, hey, are you using anti-seize? Are you not using anti-seize? And so you'll come down to 17-inch cast wheel, no anti-seize. Here's your torque value. So be sure to check that out. No Loctite.
Perfect. Nope. That's, I think, welcome information. David had one in relation to that too. Is there a recommended pattern to follow or torque setting when putting the ring on beadlocks?
Absolutely. You want to follow a star pattern. And when it comes to torquing a beadlock, you want to kind of creep up on the torque. And so if you're doing it the appropriate way, it shouldn't be a quick process, right? It should take you 10, 15 minutes to really achieve final torque on that. And so you kind of want to go on a star pattern, up, down, left, right, and then start to fill in the gaps like this in a star pattern, all the way around. And let's say your final torque that you need to achieve is 20 foot-pounds. Well, you want to get them in there hand tight, and you want to start using that calibrated torque wrench. Be sure your torque wrench is calibrated so that you know that you're getting the proper torque. And you want to creep up on that 20 pounds. So maybe the first one you're doing 5 foot-pounds. You make a full pass in that star pattern. And you're going to go to 10 foot-pounds in that star pattern, 15, right? So you want to slowly work up to that so that you don't run the risk of over-torquing and snapping bolts. It also gives you an opportunity to watch that ring and potential deflection as you're pressing down on that tire. It helps guide you through that process so you know that everything's being done evenly. And by slowing it down and having a couple different layers of torque settings until you achieve that final torque gives you the best outcome.
Nice. Cool. All right, let's see what else we've got. We've got a ton of vehicle specific ones flowing in, so I won't hit those quite yet. Here's a more general one from Ethan. And I'm curious on what your thoughts would be here is how much can you change offset without it being noticeable? And Ethan, I'm not sure what you mean, if it's visibly noticeable or noticeable in the drive line, but anyways.
It's kind of a vehicle specific question, right? I mean, there's, if you change your offset by, 50 millimeters compared to what the factory spec is, you're probably going to feel that difference, most notably in your turning radius, right? Sure. You're going to see an impact in your turning radius. If you're doing, off-road and you've, changed that offset by 50 millimeters, that's about 2 inches, by the way. You're going to feel that. You might get a little bit more, bump steer if you're in a race vehicle or something off-road. And so, again, we need to, understand what the vehicle is and what the intended use is to really understand what that impact would be. So it's a difficult question to answer, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of info.
No, I think it's a really good start for him. And that's where Ethan, if you're still on, that's where the experts at Method can really help you with your situational solution that you're trying to solve for. So I would say follow up with some of those details. And I know they've got an incredible team there that can help put the best wheels in the market on your rig. So cool. So we do have a ton of vehicle specific ones. Matt, I'm going to throw a few of them at you. Some of them, if we can't answer them today, I know the team at Method will be able to help these folks down the road. So that sound good?
Let's go.
All right. So 98 XJ with a 5x4.5 bolt pattern, bead grip wheels. Do they have some options that they can look at through Method there?
I would need to get to the website. I think we're a little bit limited in 5-on-4.5 for the XJ in the bead grip. I
Okay.
can't say that we don't have any products offhand. But I can tell you if we do, they're very limited in options.
Okay.
We've identified 5-on-4.5 for some of the old Jeeps as kind of a target for us. We are limited in some of those offerings today, so you may see some additional products from us in that regard down the road, but it is something that we have noticed because we know that options are limited.
Cool. No, I think that's good. And that's why one of the reasons why Method is such a great company is you listen to your customers, right? So that's why these questions are awesome. Here's an interesting one from James. An '05 Subaru Outback. Can I use beadlock or is a rally type fine, especially airing down?
Yeah, I would recommend a bead grip product for that use.
Okay.
Assuming it's not a dedicated off-road Subaru. Again, you want to try to stay away from running bead locks on the road as much as possible, and that's really why we built the bead grip product, was for customers that wanted to take their vehicle off road, wanted that peace of mind. That's really why that product exists. So that's what I would recommend over a bead lock.
Sweet. No, that's perfect. Okay, here's an interesting one from Steve. Given the increased popularity of Super Duty axle swaps, are there plans to increase offerings on the 8x170 bolt patterns?
I think it depends on what you mean by offering. Is it a specific fitment that you're after in an 8-on-170?
Sure.
Is it just additional product styles? Is it finish related? We 8x170 and the Super Duty is a winning platform for us. We build a ton of product for it. I can't think of many products that have been released where we don't have an 8-on-170 offering. So I want a little bit more detail. If you're not finding luck with something specific that you're looking for, call us up and recommend it. We don't just listen to our race teams; we listen to our customers too.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think that's helpful, and there sounds like there are already a ton of options for that customer too. So check it out. If not, follow up with the great team from Method. Okay. So UTV application. So Brian wrote in on that one. And how many options are there? I think that's a pretty vague question. I'm not trying to pin you down to a specific number, but I'm guessing you guys have a ton in this space as it's been grown like crazy over the past few years.
Yeah, when it comes to UTV applications, I mean, we probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 UTV part numbers.
Nice.
That's across, today it's probably across 10 or 12 different styles, both in bead grip and in bead lock. Within each of those styles, multiple bolt patterns, multiple finishes. So quite the offering on that front. We also own Tensor Tire, so a lot of UTV tire options as well. We've got sand tires, we've got all-terrain, multi-purpose, we've got race product. So if I incorporated all of the tire choices into that as well, I mean we're probably closer to 400 plus different part numbers when it comes to power sports related product.
Nice. So Brian, that should be your first stop, especially as an elite member. Check in with Method as you're looking to upgrade your rig there.
Yeah, and this is probably a good point to highlight what we've built in our vehicle finder on the website. If you've got a product and you're saying, hey, what does Method build for my vehicle, go to the website. Top right hand corner, it's going to have year, make, and model. You punch in your information, and it will only show you product that fits your particular vehicle or your particular machine. And UTVs are absolutely included in there.
Cool. Yeah, Brian, so check that out. I know you had a more specific question on the offset too, but check out that vehicle finder. I think that'll help a ton get you set up for your rig. Let's see what else we've got coming in. Touching up wheels from Mike. Do you have any recos on that? So customers out there, they just wheeled Rubicon and they went a little too hard. What would the recommendations be there, Matt?
Keep it. It's a battle scar. You earned it.
Heck yeah.
We get a lot of questions on touch up. You know, the best thing that we can recommend if you're looking to touch it up, if you take it to a body shop, they'll be able to scan it and get you a paint color that is close. We use it's similar to how vehicles are painted. We actually electrostatically charge the product, and it's a powder paint that's actually applied to it. And a lot of our finishes aren't necessarily colors, right? It's not a specific palette. For example, our Method Bronze is more of a recipe than it is a color. Okay. And so it's very difficult to match it exactly to what it came off the line as. But if you're looking to, sand it or repaint it, best option is go to a body shop, go to a local powder coater. Yeah. There's a lot of customers out there with Method Race Wheels. A lot of the powder coaters are very familiar with our product and can recommend a powder coat that will closely match.
Cool. All right, let's see. Back to the vehicle ones. Herb had one on, I have a 96 XJ with a stock lift. What bead grip wheel would you recommend?
Again, I need to take a look at some of the offerings that we would have in the bolt patterns for that. When it comes to, we talked a little bit earlier about, hey, how do we identify what wheels you want for the vehicle? And we kind of start out in guiding that decision-making process, whether it's a standard wheel, whether it's a bead grip, whether it's a bead lock. I'd have to go back and look for that specific bolt pattern. But when it comes to the bead grip and choosing within that product family, there's not one bead grip that's better than another bead grip. So at that point, once you've decided the product family that you're interested in, then it comes down to aesthetics, right? What's going to look best for your vehicle? What are your personal tastes? And find a design and find a finish that suits you best.
No, that's perfect. I think that'll help everybody as they're starting to plan out their build and upgrade into an awesome set of methods. One more from Julie. So Julie had one on how often do you recommend retorquing your beadlock bolts, and when jacked up, or is it okay to do it when it's on the ground?
First part of the question, every 200 miles is what we recommend. One of the tricks of the trade is, take a paint pen as long as you're okay with that, and you can mark you can clock that paint pen from the bolt to the wheel itself. Yep. So that you can see if you've actually lost any torque. But 200 miles is what we recommend for safe use. And yeah, I think it's okay to keep it on the vehicle when you're doing that. You don't need to disassemble and pull everything out and redo it again. What you're trying to do really with the retorque is make sure nothing is backed off. You haven't lost any torque. So doing it while it's on the vehicle is sufficient.
Cool. All right, let's see. We did talk a little bit about this one, Daryl, but just to, I think, revisit it. Daryl had some center caps that got into contact with some rocks, it sounds like. If I remember right, Matt, you guys have a ton of options for different center caps that he could look at to swap out onto his rig.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you can use the accessory finder on our website, year, make, and model. You can, replace it with the same. You can replace them all with something different. It's up to you, personalize it. But you either use that accessory finder or you can give us a call, and our sales team would be happy to walk you through that process and help out.
Cool. Perfect. We'll follow that up. I think we've got our last one here from Cameron, maybe one more. Cameron was asking about backspacing options on the bead grip wheels. For instance, the needs for a 4Runner with a 2 to 3 inch lift and extended upper control arms.
So currently bead grip is offered in for a 4Runner in a 4 3/4 backspace or a 4.5 inch backspace. Either one of those is going to be sufficient for a 4Runner. With a 2 or 3 inch lift on there. It's really just, what size tire are you running? That's the component that we don't always know when somebody asks us a question. Hey, are you going to need, more of an offset or less of an offset based on the tire size that you're running or the tire size that you intend to use? So you can really do either or. The 4 3/4 backspace is going to be an 8.5-inch wheel. The 4.5-inch backspace is going to be a 9-inch wide wheel. On a 4Runner with a 3-inch lip, either is going to look great. The outside half, how far that's hanging out compared to the other is minimal. It's really going to come down to tire size that you've selected to see what would be the best fit for it.
Awesome. Well, cool. I think we've gotten a ton of questions. We've stolen a good chunk of Matt's evening. So thank you. And John in the background as well, helping get this thing all together from Method. But one, thank you all for attending. I think we've answered a ton of questions. There may be a few that we haven't gotten to yet, but we will follow up with the answers to those for those folks. But Matt, anything else that you want to say before we leave tonight?
I just appreciate everybody coming on and listening to me talk for 45 minutes. We appreciate all of our customers. We appreciate all of the feedback. We learn as much from folks like you as we do from ourselves internally. So appreciate everybody coming on. We welcome all of the questions. We will get these questions and get those answers back to everybody. Use the vehicle finder on the website, use the accessory finder on the website. If you have questions, reach out to us directly. Our team's happy to help you through anything.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you, Matt, for jumping on and volunteering so much of your time and your brilliance around all this stuff. I think we all got a heck of a lot smarter. And again, for the onX folks that are here, don't forget to sign into your Elite account, get that preferred pricing from Method, and upgrade your rig tonight. There's no reason why you wouldn't after you just saw how great these wheels are and how they're going to make your rig that much better. So thank you all again. Have a great evening, and we will see you next month for the next masterclass. Have a great night.